Aloha. Welcome to Bleav in Rams, your place for all things Rams football. Gearing up to, of course, be an interesting season. So much to get into. Make sure to subscribe, hit that follow button. We always want to hear your thoughts too. So get in on the action, engage with us. Let us know what topics you want to hit. Today, I'm joined by my co-host, Tyler Dragon of USA Today. We've got a lot to chat about. What's going on, Ty? How we doing?
Well, first of all, I love what you did there. They're very timely. Maybe we can record a podcast in Maui. Maybe Bleav will send us.
Should
What do you
we?
think?
Yeah.
Put
Yeah, that
request in
feels
for
fair. I'm going to ask Les about that. What Tyler is referring to and why I said aloha in the beginning of the show is because the Rams are moving their June minicamp from one sunny location to another. That's right. The team announced it is holding its minicamp in Maui. I mean, come on, you guys. Like, I get it if you're in Green Bay. We're already in sunny Los Angeles, but you got to love what the Rams are doing. So they're going to Maui next month as part of a partnership with the Hawaii Tourism Authority. This is the first time the Rams, the first time a team has ever held a mini camp in Maui, which is very interesting. I mean, we don't have to get too deep into this. What I'm liking from the Rams, I'm seeing the first in NFL history for teams to do these things. Of course, the Rams hosting their draft at a fire station, and now they're going to one of my favorite places. Maui is literally paradise. What were your thoughts when you heard that? Have you been there?
So I have not been to Maui, but I've been to Kauai and the main island. One of my best friends actually got married there a couple years ago. So I went out there. I was one of the groomsmen, and Hawaii is paradise. Seriously, I love it. That's why I'm very jealous of all the Rams players, coaches, and staff members who get to go. I'm going to ask Bleav if they can send us. I mean, I'm sure we'll get a lot of work done. We can film at the mini camp location. We can film on the beach, wherever y'all want, sipping pina coladas and whatnot. But I mean, like you said, it is a great place. It is one of my favorite vacation spots. And shout out to the Rams. They've been staying in the news for just the locations that they've been holding different NFL events at. Like you said, the draft at the fire station. We were both there. Shout out to the firefighters and the first responders from the horrific fires in LA. They, shed light on them, and also just, congratulating them and just raising awareness for everything that they have done for the city. And then a couple weeks later announced that they're going home mini camp in Hawaii. I mean, these are national stories that are reverberated all over the NFL, league. And the Rams are staying in the news. That's a good thing for us and for them.
Yeah. Well, I owe you a Mai Tai anyways, right?
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. So Tyler and I had a wager that before the 7th round, the Rams would pick up a quarterback. I mean, technically, they were going to pick up a quarterback in the first round, but then they ended up trading their pick to the Falcons. That's what I heard from Les. Les told me.
Okay.
So, I mean, I guess I'll owe you one regardless. But in fact, the Rams did not select a quarterback in this year's draft. They stacked a second first-round pick in 2026 draft, which is smart. In fact, actually, we haven't caught up since they had and finished all 3 days of the draft, right? We haven't talked. Okay. So this is good time. This is good timing. Here with Tyler Dragon of USA Today. So overall, where would you put the Rams in terms of grading the draft? And I want you to include the Rams' choice by not selecting somebody day one and stacking a second first rounder in next year's draft.
Well, thank you, first of all, for mentioning the bet that I won. You're going to owe me a large drink. I'm not going to order a small. I'm going to order a large.
A double or a triple?
Triple shot, preferably a cognac. But yeah, I think overall the Rams draft was pretty good. I was a little bit skeptical when they traded out of their first round pick But when I saw the package that they got back, which included an additional first round pick in the 2026 draft, I was impressed when you look at what they have in the draft next year. And that's where I do believe the Rams will draft the quarterback in the 2026 draft, because they have the ammunition, if they're late in the first round, to move up with those 2 first round picks, or they can stay put and use one of their picks to just draft a quarterback there in the first round. But this year, I do like Terrence Ferguson, the tight end out of Oregon. I think he can be a number 2 tight end right there for the Rams. I do like the edge. I always mispronounce it. Josiah Stewart. Yes. He actually was more productive than Mason Graham and Grant when in terms of, pass rushes and pressures per snap. But he wasn't the most heralded defensive lineman out of Michigan. But I think he can make an immediate impact as a rookie. Chris Paul Jr., I love the name, not the point guard, but the linebacker out of Ole Miss. Yeah, I think he could be a steal in the 5th round. So those were some of the highlights that I have. And I think overall I would give the Rams probably a solid B. And the reason I don't give them an A, because I want to see what they do with those picks that they got in next year's draft in order for me to move them up to an A. So it's a TBD, but right. I do give them a solid B for their overall draft in 2020.
So you're making us wait almost another year until you decide to give the Rams their draft grade for 2025. Makes sense. Okay, fair.
Pretty much.
Yeah, that's a teaser if I've ever heard one.
What do you give them?
Well, I mean, it's interesting because I think one of the things people were maybe surprised by, I was actually surprised to hear how many people gave them a B. I don't think you're off in terms of where you're at in your grade based on what other analysts, experts, so on and so forth have thought about how the Rams did. I guess my question for you is not what do you think they'll do next year? What are they missing that they didn't get this year? And do you think there's some major holes they still need to fill? And the reason being is we didn't see them draft a cornerback. Offensive line was also something that they would want some depth at. So I think there's still some question marks with regards to their roster. But if you were to take away the concerns of what they might look like and what they will do with potentially those 2 draft picks, what would you have wanted to see them do that they didn't necessarily address in the draft?
Well, I've been saying previously this offseason that I would have liked them to draft a linebacker with the top pick, particularly an inside linebacker. They really haven't had a standout inside linebacker since Bobby Wagner, and this was Bobby Wagner as a veteran. I do think their secondary could be bolstered a little bit. They did not draft a defensive back in the draft. There are talks and rumors that there could be a reunion with Jalen Ramsey. Les Snead and Sean McVay did not rule out the possibility of acquiring Ramsey, who the Dolphins have made available. And also the offensive line. I do believe the Rams offensive line played better towards the latter portion of last season, but you can never bolster your offensive line enough, in my opinion, especially when you have a veteran quarterback like Matthew Stafford. So those are kind of the 3 areas I would like to see the Rams address a little bit more throughout the draft in this offseason. But this offseason isn't over, and there are still good free agents available. I like maybe even wide receivers. There's some good free agents available. I know the Rams drafted a wide receiver in the 7th round, but overall, I think the offensive line, linebacker, cornerback are 3 areas I would like to see the Rams kind of bolster their those position groups a little bit.
Especially because they had depth issues last year with the
Mhm.
offensive line, right? Some guys were missing. It took a minute for them to find the right combination, whether it was, putting a rookie under center, or moving guys around and giving them some time to gel. Some depth at the offensive line, I think, was a concern last season that wasn't addressed yet. So, yeah, we'll see. Stay tuned. But with regards to Terrence Ferguson, which was the Rams' first pick in the draft, day 2, number 46 overall, the guy out of Oregon. My question for you is, what does that mean about the offense? We had Jonathan Stewart on, who covers went to Oregon, covers Oregon, the Pro Bowl running back, had some interesting things to say about uh, what this guy can do on the field. And my question for him and also for you is, how do we see this guy? And like, they didn't draft particularly a player that they needed. They drafted someone that, remember, Sean McVay wanted Dalton Kincaid and then Bowers last year. So he finally gets his sort of, juicy, yummy, physical type tight end, with Tyler Higbee on his last year of his deal. How do you see the offense particularly changing with that guy now on the roster?
So that's a good question. So Sean McVay is known for 11 personnel packages, and
Mm-hmm.
that's one running back, one tight end, and 3 wide receivers. Now that you have a Tyler Higbee and a Ferguson, you might see more 12 personnel, more than usual from Sean McVay, and 12 personnel, one running back, 2 tight ends, 2 receivers. So you're getting bigger bodies in there, and you have 2 capable tight ends. So you want to see what you have from Ferguson. But if he's anything like he was in college, he's a tight end who can play at the line of scrimmage, put his hands in the dirt and block and catch passes. I think he's a really good pass catcher. He's not like a bona fide, standout route runner, but he can catch passes over the middle. He knows how to get open and use his body as a big catch radius and a big frame. And I think he can complement Tyler Higbee. Well, he kind of reminds me of a Tyler Higbee. So if you have
Why?
both,
What
yeah,
part?
the same type of body type. They're not like burners at the tight end position, but they are crafty. They know how to get open. They use their body well. They have sure hands, and they're reliable pass catchers from that tight end position. I mean, Tyler Higbee's been that throughout his entire career. And Ferguson was like that, at Oregon, up in Eugene. So if that can translate to the NFL, it just gives Stafford and the Rams another weapon on offense. And
Mhm.
he's
Mhm.
not without a shortage of weapons, especially when you add a Devontae Adams to pair with
Mhm.
the Puka Nacua. So this
Yeah.
Rams team, on paper, their offense should be better than last season. Not to mention you have Kyron Williams in the backfield, and you can hope. Hi dog.
Shh,
and you
quiet.
can hope that you can get a little bit more from Blake Corum in
Right.
his
Yeah.
sophomore season. So when you look at the collection of skill position players that you have for the Rams, this is an offense that should be one of the top offenses in the National Football League. So I do like that addition, especially for a second round pick. There was talk that he can be a late first round pick,
Mhm.
but he
Mhm.
was projected to probably be a second round pick. So if you can get him, he can make an immediate impact in year 1 for the Rams.
Well, it seemed like too, after the draft, during one of Sean McVay's pressers, I'm sure it was right after they drafted Terrence Ferguson, he said, "We want versatility, and this guy
Mhm.
brings that." And did you feel like that was something they lacked last season?
Yeah, especially against some of the upper echelon teams. The game against
Mm.
the Philadelphia Eagles, the Green Bay Packers come to mind when teams
The
took away.
Lions, I mean, that was
Oh
early,
yeah,
but
the
yeah.
Lions. But when teams took away Puka Nacua, there was really a secondary pass catching option for the Rams. You would like to have it have been Cooper Cup, but in all honesty, Cooper Cup isn't the same player he once was. I mean, those injuries have taken a toll on his body. Doesn't separate from coverage anymore, and is not as sharp as a route runner. So when you have a Devontae Adams who's known for being a standout route runner to pair with the Puka Nacua, and then you add a tight end that can go with a Tyler Higbee, and you hope Tyler Higbee, he's now 2 years removed from his injury. You can hope that, he's the Tyler Higbee of old. So when you have that combination of pass catchers, it should bode well for the LA Rams.
I love speculating well before the season. Fantasy analysts do it. Everybody speculates. We're going to do it right now because I'm going to ask you a question that you're probably not going to know the answer, but you can go ahead and play along. Did they do enough to stay atop the NFC West?
I think they did. The team that I'm going to keep my eye on in the NFC West outside of the Rams is the 49ers. And I say that because the 49ers, they were decimated by injuries last year. But this is a team that, has Super Bowl experience, has experience being in an NFC championship game, experience winning the NFC West. And if we're being honest, they've had the Rams number when you go back the last few years. So it's a team when the San Francisco, if they're healthy and they can remain healthy, they are still on paper have one of the best rosters in the NFL. Now, yes, they did lose a lot of talent, particularly on the defensive end. Debo is now in the nation's capital. So they're going to have some parts that they have to, solidify on their roster, and they're going to be relying on some players that maybe are a little bit less experienced. But San Francisco, to me, is the Rams' chief competition in NFC West.
Always. But Sean McVay is licking his chops with all, like you said, the skilled players and the playmakers that have been added this offseason to compete with their chief rival in the 49ers. Let's shift gears really quickly, and I know we're going to wrap soon. Stafford's details of his deals came out. Can you shed some light on it? And then also my question is, long term, right? They've got the 2 first-round draft picks next year. Stafford's on this sort of like year-to-year deal. What do you make of the details that have come out sort of about Stafford's deal?
So he's going to make roughly $44 million this year. And if he's on the roster, I Bleav it's at the start of free agency next year, he'll earn an additional $40 million. So it's essentially a 2-year deal with a potential opt out at the end of this season. In my opinion, based on what I'm hearing and the Rams and Stafford's, mindset, I think it's pretty much going to be a 2-year deal. And maybe next year, at the end of next season, will be Stafford's last year with the Rams. Now, that's not official. That's just my speculation. But that just, when you look at what the Rams have done and are doing and what they position themselves to do during next year's draft, it just leads me to believe that they're probably going to draft a quarterback next season, let him sit behind Stafford one more year, learn the ropes, learn from him, and then take the reins over in that following season when Stafford moves on, maybe retires or goes to another club. I mean, Stafford will be pushing 40 at that time. So to me, it's a good deal. It's a win for both sides. When you look at Stafford's production, he's a champion, and what he's been able to do throughout his career, particularly with the Rams, when you get him for $44 million and maybe $40 million next season, that's kind of a bargain based on the quarterback market these days and the level that Stafford continues to play at.
Well, I'm glad they were able to figure something out. The Staffords want to stay in LA. The Rams fans, they want Stafford to be here. And it just seemed strange last year when this whole playing hard to get for both sides. We, the media, aren't necessarily on the inside of what those conversations look like, but It is a business at the end of the day. That is the NFL. And you saw it happen firsthand with Cooper Kupp getting shipped off. So it's an exciting beginning of the season so far. We're entering May. Mini camp is in Hawaii. I'll see you in Maui, Mai Tai in hand. Okay. We'll have to pitch it to the Bleav folks to see if we can work something out. Maybe we could just do like a hula commercial, get it sponsored by, what are those things? Those macadamia nuts. I mean, honestly, I am a diehard Hawaii fan. So when I saw that hit just 30 minutes ago, right before we recorded, I was very envious.
And the coffee in Hawaii, amazing.
Is it good? And the sugar. Yeah. We love it. We love it. All right. Well, listen, that's a wrap. I've got my co-host, Tyler Dragon of USA Today, to help break down a little bit of what's going on with the Rams in terms of how he has seen the draft. He's giving it a B, but he'll wait next year to give us his full analysis, especially with what maybe Les might do with that first round pick they snagged from the Falcons, who are getting ripped to shreds for making that deal. It seemed like a very beneficial deal, and they get their tight end. So we'll have to see how soon of an impact Terrence Ferguson is going to make. Jonathan Stewart, who's very familiar with him, said he expects to see him week 3 making an impact. So it'll be interesting, but no other team can do it and make a shift. We saw it last year with the defense, then the Rams. I'm Erin Coscarelli for Tyler Dragon. This is Bleav in Rams. We'll see you next time. Thanks for tuning in. Bye, guys.